You know what I always say? Let the adults play? Yeah. Now that some of the kids are out with injury, I've got to talk about the importance of the, how can I put this? Elder statesman on the team. Let's go with that. Elder statesman on this edition of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I like that, elder statesman. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Locked On Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jason JD Hernandez. I've been covering hockey for over a decade. Also, currently the public address announcer for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. And today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Once again, that is the Gametime app. So I've talked about the kids forever. I love the youth movement that the Ducks have right now. But McTavish is out. Zegras is out. Drysdale's out. That's 3 kids right there. So it's up to the adults to step up right now. And we're going to talk about the adults right now because some of them have played a vital role on the Ducks so far this season. And it starts with Frank Vatrano. Vatrano has been, for lack of better terms, the constant for the Ducks this season. What do I mean by that? Vatrano has stepped up big time for the Ducks this season, netting some pretty big goals for the Ducks. He's got 14 goals in 25 games. He's on pace to have a 40-goal season. Yeah, Frank Vatrano could have a 40-goal season. Frank Vatrano's career high for goals in his career is only 24, and he's more than halfway there. Vatrano, I think, is going to get 30 this season, but 40, considering the big contract that he signed. Last season was fine with 22 goals. That was fine. If he can get 40 goals this season, then I would say, yeah, that contract was kind of worth it. Not every day you can get a 40 goal scorer on your team and someone with the kind of scoring depth that he has. He can score from any part of the ice. He can get the stick in there. He can even get into the middle when he has to. He's already got 2 hat tricks this season within 2 weeks of each other. There was the hat trick against the Canes early in the season. And how about the one at Wells Fargo Center? That was pretty sweet as well. Already, he's got 3 hat tricks this calendar year for the Anaheim Ducks. And as the announcer on NBA Jam would say, he's on fire. That's what Frank Vatrano is right now. Leading the team in goals with 14, leading the team in points with 23. But his line mate has also been pretty solid. Ryan Strome. He's been fine. 17 points, 14 assists. He has been the prime setup guy for his line mate. I got to point out, these 2 were teammates before Anaheim. They were teammates in New York with the Rangers. Kind of ironic that they both signed out of New York and both signed with Anaheim. So they're used to each other. They're used to where the other is going to be. And Strome was kind of a setup guy in New York, but now he's the prime setup guy in Anaheim. And it is never a bad thing when you lead your team in assists, such as Stromer does right now. He leads the Anaheim Ducks in assists as of this recording with 14. Third in the team with 17 points. Second, of course, to Mason McTavish. But now with McTavish out, it's doubly important to have Strome try to set up Vatrano as much as possible, as we will probably likely see in the near future. In the short term, it is good for those old guys to continue. I should stop saying old guys. The veterans. Veterans. Why couldn't I think of that 3 minutes ago? It's important for the veterans to continue getting this quality playing time and to feed off of each other so well. Another veteran that I need to bring up right now is Adam Henrique, who's still plugging along. Now, it might seem like Adam Henrique is 40 based on the amount of time he's played. No, Henrique is only 33 years old. He's on the latter end of his contract. If the season doesn't pick up for the Anaheim Ducks, Adam Henrique could be a prime blue chip. He could be a prime trade chip for this upcoming trade deadline. I hate to say it, but Adam Henrique, Uncle Rico, is still doing it right now for the Ducks. He's only got 4 goals, off to a kind of slow start this season, not what we're accustomed to, but he's got 11 points. He's doing okay, but he's kind of stuck on a line that is still trying to figure itself out and is still dealing with injuries, because it was Zegras and Henrique on that same line. But now that Zegras is gone, Henrique is starting to, you ready for this? He's starting to open up a little bit. Yeah. And part of that has to do with the emergence of Leo Carlsson. But it's up to Henrique to be that elder statesman and to also be that mentor for young Leo Carlsson. Look, Adam Henrique is not going to be around forever. And it's good for him to kind of lead by example for a young guy like Leo Carlsson, which is why I think having Leo on the line with Henrique is doubly important. And Henrique has always been a stand-up player, someone that you can gravitate towards, someone that you can model your game after. Look, Henrique has had 50-point seasons in the past. Even in the recent past, he's had 40-point seasons with the Ducks. He's been solid. He's been solid for the team. So just another one of those veterans that I think could serve some importance. But unfortunately, I could see Henrique being a blue chip. And also got to give props to Sam Carrick. Carrick with that shorthanded goal earlier this week. Sam Carrick spent a multitude of years as the San Diego Gulls captain. He still serves a vital role for this Ducks team. So, we got to let the adults play, but we have to let them kind of figure each other out more in the coming days and in the coming weeks. So I still have hope. I still have optimism. It begins with Frank Vatrano, but the rest of the adults, they're pretty good too. And another one of the veterans that I'm going to talk about at length, the next segment, John Gibson. Some are saying he's washed. Some are saying John Gibson's back. Yeah, there has been the tweets back and forth all season. Is John Gibson back? Is he still good? Is he washed? I'll talk about that on the other side. And now a quick word from Gametime. That's right. The Gametime app helps you get your tickets at a nice little discount. And you know what? I have used the Gametime app for a number of years now. Gametime is where you can get your tickets at the last minute without having to worry about whether you can get in or not, whether or not you're going to overpay for tickets. Look, I've gotten last second tickets literally while I walk into the stadium. I've done this at least twice at Angel Stadium now. So that's where I've got last minute tickets. I've gotten zone deals, flash deals, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of sporting event or even concert in your area. And you could even view, you could see what the view is from your seat in that venue. They also have a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. And you know what? Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And we are also brought to you by FanDuel. That is right. The FanDuel app is better than ever. And folks, you know what? We are really heating up this winter with the NFL season coming to a close. And also, we're heating up with the NBA. Have you checked out the in-season tournament? Because it's really heating up there. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Did you put some money on the Bucks to win their game against the Knicks? Yeah, that's $150 if your team wins. For those Laker fans out there, maybe put some money on them against the Pels in the semifinals. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, futures, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and kick off the seasons right now, including the NHL season. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. And please, folks, gamble responsibly. I say this all the time, but please gamble responsibly. And maybe if you're going to have some player prop bets, maybe look no further than John Gibson, because John Gibson has had himself, I would say, an up and down season, but I would think he's had more ups than downs. Do I think he is washed? No. I truly do not think he's washed. I'm going to take off my glasses for this segment because I'm going to talk to you all that say that John Gibson is completely washed and the Ducks should get rid of him. They should not. John Gibson still serves an important purpose for this Ducks team. He is still vital in their success. Now, yes, the Ducks have not had a whole lot of success this season. Lukáš Dostal has had an abysmal few games. In fact, he has gone from one of the best ranking goalies to one of the worst ranking goalies. Yeah, my dog agrees with that. You know what? John Gibson, so far this season, has had a save percentage of about league average, about save percentage, 906, goals against, only 282. So he's about average there. But how about some of the other stats? How about this? John Gibson almost leads the league for individual expected goals with 52.8. That is not so much John Gibson's fault. That is, you ready for this? Again, this is more the defense allowing some high danger shots. This is the defense kind of faltering at times a little bit, allowing that many expected goals. And John Gibson has only allowed 47 goals. So he is actually doing better than expected right now. He's got, according to the Hockey Stats Card site, according to hockeystatcards.com, John Gibson has a game score average of positive 0.32. That's above league average. His total for goals saved is 5.76. So he has saved 5.76 goals above average, or above expected goals, rather. Not average, expected goals. I know what I'm saying here. So Gibby is playing better, well, certainly better than last year. Last year, he was in the negatives pretty much all season long. And now he's got the positives. I'll give some more evidence as to why John Gibson is not washed here. Let's look at John Gibson's high danger save percentage. So this, I think, shows just how bad it's been for the Ducks this season. High danger save percentage is about 816. Actually, I need to check this again. It's 819 now. So John Gibson's high danger save percentage, according to Natural Stat Trick, is 819. That's the high danger save percentage. The player that leads the league in that has played at least 10 games, Jeremy Swayman, his high danger save percentage is 894. Yeah, we're talking like 80s goalie stats here. High danger save percentage is typically much lower than save percentage. In fact, the league average right now for high danger save percentage is 809. So John Gibson is slightly above average on high danger save percentage, and he's slightly above average on expected goals. I'm not saying that he's the savior, or I'm not saying he's the best goalie. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's the worst goalie. What I will say is he has saved the Ducks' butts on more than a few occasions. This can be true. I am also saying that John Gibson has performed about as expected. That can be true also. This is a case where multiple things can be true as far as John Gibson is concerned. And I still think that he's got a little bit of something left in him. I mean, he's not busting out the taser nearly as much as he was in prior seasons, not even close to that, because the Ducks, at least for what it's worth, they're not allowing nearly as many shots as they were last season. Remember, they broke the record for shots allowed last season. They had allowed like 39 shots per game. So far this season, the Ducks are only allowing 31.8 shots per game. By far the worst team as far as shots allowed. There's two teams that are by far the worst. The New York Islanders are allowing 35.9 shot attempts or shots per game. The San Jose Sharks, by far the worst, 37.3. And that's still not going to break the Ducks record from last season. No, the Ducks were on a whole different level of allowing 40 shots on goal last season. So for them to only allow about 32 shots, that's an improvement, folks. That's a big improvement. They haven't allowed 40 shots nearly as much as prior seasons. So silver lining, folks. John Gibson is looking better. The defense is helping him slightly more, ever so slightly. But Gibby stepped up as well. So for me to say that Gibby has stepped up and the Ducks record is still as it is, the Ducks right now without Gibson could be second to last in the NHL for what it's worth. Look, I'm trying to stay somewhat positive about this because, you know, it is what it is. The Ducks record is not that good, but John Gibson's not washed. Not even close. There is still room for improvement, but he's not washed. So I'll leave with that. John Gibson helping keep the Ducks afloat. All right. Next segment, I'm going to talk about the importance of Cam Fowler, and it goes beyond the box score as far as Cam Fowler is concerned. I'll talk more about that after the second intermission. Stay locked in. Now a word from Indeed. And Indeed, you do need the one website that helps you pick up the perfect candidate for your job. It is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And if you really hate waiting, like I do, I hate waiting in traffic. If you hate waiting, Indeed's US data shows that over 80% of Indeed's employers finds quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. And Indeed does all the hard work for you. Sponsor a job and boom, instant match shows you whose candidates Indeed fit your job description immediately after you post. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you got to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/locked on to start hiring now. Once again, that's Indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Indeed, we're going to talk about that other side, defense. While I did just badmouth defense, there is one player that has still done a solid job and has looked pretty good on the ice, and that's Cam Fowler. Cam Fowler so far this season, not exactly putting up a ton of points so far this season, but he does still have an importance. Cam Fowler is not leading all defensemen in scoring. Would you believe Pavel Mintyukov has 13 points, leading all Ducks defensemen. But Cam Fowler, 12 points, 2 goals, 10 assists. But Fowler is a workhorse right now. Last game against Colorado, he had by far the most ice time. In fact, he's leading all players with time on ice, with an average time on ice of 24 minutes, 19 seconds. He's had a couple of games this season where it's close to 30 minutes this season. And I've got to hand it to Cam Fowler. He has put on some very good performances on both sides of the ice, playing a perfect 200-foot game. But what I want to talk about for just a hot minute before we head off is the importance of Cam Fowler off the ice. He has been an incredible mentor to pretty much every other player on that Ducks roster right now. He has also been important as far as, helping the young guys. He's been helping Mintyukov a lot this season. We have seen this on camera and kind of just like on little shots here and there. And also, did y'all love what Cam Fowler did when Leo Carlsson scored his first shootout goal? Yeah, Fowler kind of did this move where he kind of had his head over Leo Carlsson. Like, I can't believe he did that. And just kind of had his head over. And he's done that a few times this season and last season, is where he will kind of pull the youngsters aside and give them their props, give them their just due. That's the kind of player that you want on your team. And Cam Fowler is the perfect alternate captain for the Ducks. I mean, yes, I am still seeing a couple of tweets saying, oh, Cam Fowler should be a captain, but Fowler's role right now is perfect. He's the mentor for the young guys. He's the mentor for the young defensemen, Lacombe, Minty, Drysdale. He's been that driving force in helping those young defensemen out. So I think when I talk about the importance of Cam Fowler, it is so much more than the stats, so much more than being the workhorse and leading the team in time on ice and eating up minutes and putting some good quality minutes on there. But it's also trying to keep the young guys as positive as possible. And when you've been rebuilding for a number of years, you need to try to stay as positive as possible and try to, help the young guys out with everything from attitude, body language, how to work, all those things. All those aspects of their game is very important. So that's where I give my props to Cam Fowler. And, I've given my props to all the veterans. They're still important on this team. So you know what? Let the vets play. All right. That's going to do it for this podcast. I thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, this podcast is free and available across all platforms, including Stitcher, Spotify, Odyssey, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, etc. Ad-free on Amazon. Also hit that subscribe button on YouTube. You can follow me on the site formerly known as Twitter or X at StimpyJD. The show's Twitter or X is at LO_Ducks. Email. The mailbag will be opening up this week. Email me at lockedonanaheimducks@gmail.com. Locked on Anaheim Ducks, all one word, at gmail.com. Once again, thank you all for your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. And we'll be back tomorrow with Goals Thursday. For Locked on Anaheim Ducks, I'm Jason J.D. Hernandez saying have a great rest of the evening. Please remember to be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Ducks fly together.